And we are live.
Hurrah!
Hurrah!
Hello.
Oh, I better get you to here.
Have you done all the things you're supposed to do?
Oh,
I'm supposed to remind you about
stuff.
stuff.
Yes, that's right. You have to remind me.
You have to open various things, share various things, because I don't do this because technology hates me.
That's it. I have to go like that.
Hello, everybody.
Like this.
I hope you're well. I hope your weather is better than ours, which is grey and wet and miserable on a bank holiday Monday. Yeah. Fortunately, we knew that, so we did the outside stuff yesterday when the sun was shining.
Okay, I've done that.
Okay.
This live feed is now public, so if you want to share it, you can share it out from my live Facebook thing. We're also now on YouTube in the Music Venue Trust YouTube streaming, and we're also on Twitch TV.
Is anybody watching?
What, on Twitch TV? Do you know what? I don't know.
Yes. Tim's there. Hi, Tim.
Yes,
morning.
Tim. Yeah, weather in London is the same, says Tim.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so we all need to cheer each other up.
Yes,
well, we've got a perfect way to do that.
We have. So, as you know, this is our drop-in session where we have a cup of tea, take a little break from fighting the world and all the troubles in it. And we bring in a number of special guests, which is a surprise for you every morning. And today's special guest is, drumroll, Mr. Steve Lamacq.
Hello,
Steve.
Morning, Steve. How are you? Oh, first comment is, Steve, what's this beard? What's happening with the beard?
It's laziness. That's what that is. Been letting myself go. Yeah, you should have seen it last week. I had 2 weeks growth at one point, and then Jen, my wife, said I don't mind it, so I kept it for a while, and then it suddenly occurred to me that what's the worst time to experiment with your first attempt at growing a beard, which means you touch your face all the time? It's probably not the time to be growing a beard. So it went for a bit. It'll go again today.
Yeah. How are you other than that, mate? How you doing?
Yeah, it's incredibly frustrating not being on air. I mean, this is the thing. I know a lot of us, are sort of workaholics in a way. And if you take all the work away from the workaholic, it's just a bit strange. So keeping busy, I'd much rather, be on air because I'd like to talk to the listeners more. I mean, we're doing one show a week. We're doing the Recommend show, where we're trying to do a virtual gig guide. So if new bands are streaming gigs from home, we're listing some of those. And obviously we're playing an hour of new records because I'm still listening to all the music. It's just not being there and not being able to communicate with people, really. Just being a part of it is this is the longest I've never been on air, and the longest I've never been to a gig, so obviously it feels weird.
Actually, I think that might be the same for me, actually. This could be the longest I've never seen.
Not been to live music.
Yeah, it's the longest gap since I was 17, since before I could drive. It's the longest time.
Yeah, it wouldn't be for me because when I was pregnant and when the girls first came, I had quite a long gig break. You used to go to gigs with Jane instead.
You say that, but you did take them to see Radiohead in Victoria Park.
No, I went to see Radiohead 3 times when I was pregnant. That is true.
Right.
Wasn't that much of a break.
Okay, when I gave birth to twins, I had a break from my
music. You did indeed, yes. But yeah, no, I'd be with you. I think this is probably, because we've been in lockdown since
14th of March.
Officially, and before that, since March the 9th. So I don't know.
Really?
Any idea what day it is?
Yes, it's the 13th of April.
Is it? Good job you're here.
I looked this morning.
This morning.
Well, the Six Music Festival, seeing Squid and the Dean Shah was the last time I've been at a gig. I mean, we were quite lucky. If that was taking place another week later, who knows? That probably might not have even happened. So that's the last time. So yeah, so I feel a bit, you feel a bit of a fish out of water, really, because you're trying to do all the things that you normally do and you want to get involved with the things that you're doing. It's just you don't have that platform that you would regularly use. So you've got to find different ways of communicating with people. And in between that, I'm looking after my daughter, who gate crashed my Recommend show last week and did her first link on the radio. But because my wife's a doctor of child psychology, so she's working through this because the children that she's been working with, primary age school children who are now not at school. I mean, their issues don't stop just because they're not at school. If anything, they could be worse. So she's doing a lot of calls with parents, and she does some tutoring via UCL. So while she's doing that, then I'm looking after a 3.5-year-old who has just arrived at her Peppa Pig phase. So just the 17 episodes yesterday, I think. And you get that theme, the songs lodged in your head.
Is that most of the new music you're listening to? Peppa Pig.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know why, but your head is becomes a sponge for kids' music, kids' TV show music. But apart from that, trying to stay normal. Yeah.
Yeah, our one was poetry. And they were obsessed with poems, and particularly, Gerald was a tall giraffe whose neck was. See, I can still do it. Yeah, still do it 17 years later, mate. That's what you got ahead of you.
And some of the AA Milne, some of the Winnie the Pooh compendium, which went down really, really well. But on kids' TV, we did really well. I guess because we weren't living in the UK, although we did manage to find a way to have CBeebies and what have you. We also bought some DVDs of Trumpton and Chigley and Camberwick Green and Bagpuss.
Things I remembered.
You know, things that we really liked. So actually listening to and watching those again was a delight. Yeah. Whereas having seen Peppa Pig since with friends who've got younger kids, I'm super glad that we missed that phase.
Oh,
because
absolutely.
I'm not a fan.
No, me neither. I have tried her on a box set of Danger Mouse. We got 3 episodes into that before we had to return to something that she knew. But absolutely. Oh, I've got a few of those lined up.
I went for the Monkeys, believe it or not. I thought it was quite the Monkeys TV show. They liked that because it was so chaotic.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I've tried that. I've got a question for you.
Go on in.
Have you ever, either of you, at any point, obviously when you're probably in your teens, did you ever try to look like someone in a band? Do you ever get a haircut or wear the clothes of someone in a group? You must have done.
Yes. Would you like to know who?
Oh God, yeah, absolutely. Tell me yours. I'll tell you mine.
I went through several different phases, but at one point I used to try and look exactly like Edwyn Collins in the early Orange Juice days.
Right.
So I had the full fringe coming down massively over your eyes, and then that got adapted into what I can only describe as my haircut 100 phase. Once I worked out that girls really like Nick Hayward. So for about 6 months, I walked around wearing black plimsolls and really big, thick white socks.
Right.
That was up to here.
And rolled up trousers.
And rolled up trousers. That was a real look for about 6 years. So go on then. What was yours?
Well, I'll keep my singles over here. Do you want to? I'll give you a quick look around the room if you want to. Look.
Yeah, go for it.
That's this is obviously only downstairs. There's a
do you think you get any records, or you're not really into music, Steve?
Yeah. So that's that side. There's a few over there. The vinyl's over here, and that's where the record player is, and back again. But anyway, I've just reached into my box of 7-inch. Well, I've got drawers for 7-inch singles. Can you see that? Oh, you can't really see this very well. Hang on, I'll hold it up. Right. Now, if I keep coming along, I once went in to a barber's and said, "Can I look like this man?" I wanted to look like the bass player of the Skids. I mean, that was my level of ambition. The bass player of the Skids. What about that?
Who did you get your hair cut by? You would have recognised the bass player.
Also, so your worst. So what would you say your worst pop music related fashion faux pas was then? Was it the socks? Was it the haircut 100 phase?
The haircut 100 years? No, I would say it was the growing my hair long when I thought I would be in a sort of sub U2 band.
Right.
And then them releasing Rattle and Hum. And me realising that this music was absolutely tosh.
Well,
I got my hair cut shortly after that.
Well, again, given that you've been, good enough to tell us yours, when I was about, I don't even know how old, 18 maybe. At the start of the 80s, you might remember, after punk, there was a thing called new punk, and along came these bands like Blitz, and I suppose the Cockney Rejects started it, and then there was Blitz and Cron Gen and all those.
Mate, I used to manage the Anti-Nowhere League, so I know all about that.
Well, what a moment of synchronicity this is. So, I'd been to a few gigs by this point, but I didn't really fit in because I didn't have any clothes, proper clothes that you wore. Because I'm sure you remember when you first started going to gigs, you didn't know what to wear. Because I was 13 when I went to my first gig. I had no idea. It took me, 3 hours to work out what I was going to wear on the day, panicking because you want to look like I go to gigs all the time. I don't go to gigs all the time. I've got school the next day, but you want to try and look like you fit in. Anyway, eventually I sent off for a pair of trousers, punk rock trousers, from the back of Sounds, the music paper Sounds, and I thought these are going to look absolutely class. The trousers arrived, and it was specifically because I was going to see the Anti-Nowhere League in Ipswich, the Gaumont in Ipswich, with Cron Gen and the Defects supporting, and the Addicts and Chelsea, I think. What a bumper night. So I needed something, so I sent off for these trousers. They arrived, these trousers, and my mum said, when I put them on for the first time, she said, "You look like the sort of person I would cross over the road to avoid." Now,
that's the look you're going for.
Yeah.
Success.
Now, this is 1981, 82, maybe 82, somewhere around there. I can't remember whatever year the first Anti-Nowhere League album came out. I've still got those trousers. Would you like to see them?
Yes.
They are. It's basically the Japanese Rising Sun design on a pair of jeans. Ready?
Yeah.
Oh, I like those.
There you go. Look at that.
I was going to say, why have you still got them? But now I see them, I know why you still got them, because I really like those.
Well, they still fit.
God.
So not today. Not today. We'll make a contribution to the fund, or get some people to give us some money, and I will wear them to a gig at the Lexington.
That's Steve Lamacq sponsored trouser outing. That is definitely, that's going to raise a lot. To see you in those trousers, mate, I'm giving you my money now.
Okay.
I definitely want to see you wear those trousers.
At the gig is fine. It's just I'm more worried about getting the tube home. But yeah, still fit. They're a bit long.
That's cheered our morning up. That's well done.
That's why we're here.
Yeah.
I was deeply uncool as a teenager, so I have no stories to share.
Didn't you go through the Duran Duran phase?
Well, I love Duran Duran, but I never looked like them because I'm quite a bit younger than you two, and I was quite a sensible, studious schoolgirl who only went out very occasionally and wasn't really allowed to buy exciting clothes.
You would cross the road if you saw somebody wearing those trousers.
I might be quite intimidated if somebody dressed like that, yes. Because, I grew up in Dorset, and, there wasn't a very active alternative music scene.
I'll tell you what we should do. Actually, I'm just helping the Anti-Nowhere League to line up their next tour of America, which of course is all. Punk Rock Bowling was cancelled, that they go and do pretty much every year. Yeah. Now they're trying to get out for later in the year, September, October, but the visa situation for musicians is just a nightmare, and nobody knows where they can go or whatever. But what we should do is maybe we should just try and line up that it's Anti-Nowhere League, Cron Gen and the Defects that we go and see together while you're wearing those trousers.
I'm up for it. I'm definitely up for it.
People won't donate money for that. I don't know what they'll donate money for. Right, listen, that was excellent, Steve. I think we should just say that as I told you before you came on, these little videos are going into the Music Venues Alliance group of venues, about 800 people in there representing 670 venues. Situation's very, very serious, as we've discussed. So these videos are really just intended to give everybody a bit of a lift, a bit of a laugh, which I think, a bit of light relief, and just like, because everybody we know is really working flat out. We have a team of 16 people now trying to keep the venues open. So, and I think, you know, I've seen you tweeting, you know, you're very aware of how bad everything is. So it's really just like sending a message to them that they're not alone, that they need to stop and have a cup of tea, as well as having a bit of a worry and see a familiar face. So it was really great of you to pop in and say hello.
Yeah, I mean, anyone who's doing anything, you know, just tweet us and we'll retweet it. Anyone who needs any sort of, you know, just stuff to share, or even, you know, email us for a chat, anything, you know, we're here with some time, because I wouldn't be here without the people who are, you know, trying to keep the venues alive at the moment. And, you know, through all this, the only thing which is really keeping me going is the fact that there will be something at the end of this. And I just, you know, I just want life to go back to, I need to believe that we can get through this, and that live music, which so many of us thrive on, will, you know, bring us all back together at some point, wherever that is in the future. So anything anyone needs, Steve_Lamacq on Twitter.
Great. Thank you, Steve. Well,
it's lovely to see you.
Bless you.
Keep
Have a good day.
If you've got any more trousers, just let us know. I mean, it's just.
And don't sink under the weight of the Peppa Pig exposure. You know, mix it up a bit.
Try the monkeys, mate. Try the monkeys.
That's right. Good tip. Thank you very much.
All
Cheers.
Right, bye. There you go. That was Mr. Steve Lamacq. That was lovely.
That was excellent.
And we'll set up the page to sponsor Steve to put on those trousers. Go with us to see the Anti-Nowhere League. That sounds like a night out.
Yes.
But you've never seen them, have you?
Not live, no.
No, there you go.
Well, I've met some of them, but I haven't actually seen them play.
You've met Uncle Animal, but you've all been introduced. Yeah. Okay, so that was today's Elevenses show. Thank you for joining in, and see you all soon. And everybody back to work. Go back to work. How dare you?
Holiday.
What?
It's a bank holiday.
It's a bank holiday.
Yes.
Who knew that?
Some people might. Some people.
Right. Oh.
Bye.
Bye. It's great. How are you, Steve? Everything all right? It was all good, wasn't it? It was excellent.
Yeah. Are you happy with that?
Yeah, very good. Yeah.
Those trousers were marvellous.
Oh, hang on. I thought I've ended the broadcast, but I haven't.